Hello everyone. As you know, in this course, we are studying Hard Times by Charles Dickens. So, we are here, and this video is for you to let you know more about the characters of this novel. Hope you enjoy it.
Cecilia Job, as known as Cecy. Cecy is the daughter of Circe. She's young, she's kind, caring, and a loving person. She's also a representative of creativity and wonderment because of her circus background. Her father, who works in a circus, abandons her in hope that she will have a better life without him. Cecy chose to remain at the school and work for Mr. Gradgrind, so he took her to his house and allows her to attend his school. Cecy is the device of imagination and fantasy in this novel. She also serves as the voice of reason, the reason that she cannot grasp the philosophy of Mr. Gradgrind in a classroom, because she has more realistic view of how the world should be perceived, and also Mr. Gradgrind's policies do not make any actual sense despite being logical.
Mr. Slurry is one of the minor characters in this novel. He is the proprietor of the circus of which Mr. Job and his daughter Cecy were a member. He has one fixed eye and Willow's eye, also a flappy surface, a muddled head, which was never sober and never drunk. He walks in funny way. Slurry has a problem in articulation with the letter S, and he calls Mr. Gradgrind as if he choir, and he well known in England as a horsemanship. Mr. Slurry is a good-hearted person. He takes care of Cecy when her father left her. He encouraged her to accept Mr. Gradgrind's offer to live in his house, and he advised Cecy to forget her past and start a new life, and to be good with Mr. Gradgrind. And he says to Cecy, "Farewell, Thalia. My last word to you is that stick to the terms of your engagement, to obedient to the choir, and forget us." We can see here that Mr. Slurry has a problem with the letter S. Charles Dickens uses a minor character like Mr. Slurry to make a contrast. Mr. Gradgrind interested in science and facts, but Slurry is not. He values love and fantasy. He says to Mr. Gradgrind that "make the best of us, not the worst," and this is one of the most important sentences to Mr. Slurry in this novel. He means think of us in the best way. Life needs fun, love, emotion, as well as facts. Things should be equal between them.
Louisa, the eldest daughter of Mr. Gradgrind, the main female character in the novel, appears to be quite cold and numb, but Dickens does not mean that Louisa is insensitive, but she simply does not know how to recognize and express her feelings. She was greatly influenced by the ideas of her father, so she had to know the facts, numbers, and calculations. Louisa is willing to act to her heart's content, so she annoys by factual information. Not surprisingly, she is immature and cannot deny her father's influence. Therefore, Louisa tends to evaluate human behavior and emotions. She was able to gain a deeper understanding of the simple things and the truth of their true existence. Meanwhile, she has been denied to be a simple child with her lazy moments, since her father made her educated. Louisa begins an unfortunate marriage and ends in a divorce. She marries Mr. Bounderby to please her father, but does not love her husband. Her personality is portrayed as full of fate and sorrow.
Mr. Bounderby, bound means confined. Bounderby is a very narrow-minded person that sees only what he wants and thinks everyone else has to see the same. Mr. Bounderby is a pompous, arrogant, and a successful factory owner who constantly shows off how he is a self-made man. He is a good friend with Mr. Gradgrind, lives with an elderly widow named Mrs. Spersis, until he marries Louisa Gradgrind, whom he has had his eye on since she was little. From his physical appearance, he is just like a balloon because of his circular shape. The writer described him as a balloon, which is ready to blow up. To talk about himself, about his journey in life, how he was a poor child, abandoned by his mother to alcoholic grandmother, and eventually he was left by his grandmother too. She could not afford him with what he wanted and kept him in an egg box.
Mrs. Gradgrind is passive, sickly, demoted, and not very present in the novel or in children's lives. Mrs. Gradgrind whiny, who constantly tells her children to study their ologies and complains that she will never hear the end of any complaint. Gradgrind basically says that he married her because she had no personality whatsoever, and those would not get in the way of his education plans for her kids. Mrs. Gradgrind does not share her husband's interest in facts. She lacks the energy and the imagination to oppose his system of education.
About Thomas Gradgrind. Thomas Gradgrind is one of the first main characters we meet in Hard Times, and one of the central figures through whom Dickens weaves a web of interactively connected plottiness and characters. And according to how Dickens has introduced Gradgrind, he visualized him as a firm-minded person, especially when it comes to a decision that's needed to be done or how things should be made. And there's only one way for doing so, and that is the logical or the rational way. And this is Gradgrind's process of dealing with situations. He believes that human nature can be governed by completely rational rules, and he is ready to weigh and measure any parcel of human nature, tell you what it comes to. This philosophy has brought Mr. Gradgrind much financial and social success. He has made his fortune as a hardware merchant, a trade that appropriately deals in hard material, reality, but this method or mechanism hasn't been much help for him as a person or a father in particular. So this highlights the major thing about this novel, and there is a strong case made in Hard Times that clarifies that education is not simply just a classroom experience of memorizing facts. The novel expresses the view that having an emotional component to our education is crucial. It's also shown in the novel that this kind of learning can happen at any time in life. Learning about the way other people live in the groundwork for valuing them as a fellow humans. Learning about them only in terms of the productivity is a recipe for class warfare. If this proper groundwork is not laid, then a perfect kind of learning can take its place, full of cynicism and misanthropy. Thank you all for listening and watching. Have a great day.